The words hit him harder than a stampede. Cole Branson stood frozen in the doorway of his old wooden barn, the morning sun spilling behind him like a halo. He had heard many things in his quiet life on the Branson ranch: coyotes howling at night, cattle crying for their calves, even the whispers of the wind across the dry Texas plains, but nothing had ever struck his heart the way her voice did in that moment. And she hadn't even meant for him to hear it. The hook, a promise not meant for his ears. Emma Carver stood with her back to him, brushing the mane of his favorite horse, Scout. She spoke to the animal the way most people never spoke to Cole, with warmth, with trust, with something like hope. "One day, I'll give you a child. A home. A life without fear." She whispered it into the horse's neck, but Cole heard every trembling word. His breath hitched. His hat nearly slipped from his fingers. Because Emma wasn't talking to a future husband. She wasn't dreaming aloud. She was making a promise to herself, a promise she didn't know Cole had just walked into. A promise he longed for more than anything. Cole, the rancher WHO loved quietly. At 36, Cole Branson had built a life of quiet repetition: sunrise chores, lonely dinners, silent nights. He had a reputation for being stoic, polite, hardworking, and heartbreakingly shy. Folks often said he was strong enough to wrangle bulls but too gentle to wrangle his own emotions. And they were right. What no one knew was that Cole had spent 3 years falling in love with Emma silently, patiently, desperately. She'd come to his ranch after losing everything: her parents, her childhood home, and eventually the fiancé who blamed her for not being able to conceive. Cole never forgot the night she arrived trembling, holding a single duffel bag. "I just need somewhere to breathe," she had said. And he had simply nodded, offering her the small guest room beside the kitchen. She didn't know she had offered him something far more valuable in return: purpose. Emma, the woman trying to rebuild herself. Emma had learned to smile again on that ranch. She cooked breakfast in his old cast-iron skillet. She fed the horses. She learned the rhythm of the land. And Cole, quietly, shyly, began to build his world around her. But she never knew how completely he cherished her. She thought she was just passing through. She thought she was broken, undeserving of love. Until the day she whispered that promise to Scout, the same promise her fiancé had thrown away. "One day, I'll give you a child." She said it softly, but Cole felt it like lightning down his spine. A heart too full to speak. Cole stepped into the barn slowly, trying not to startle her. "Emma." She jumped slightly, turning to him with pink cheeks. "Cole, I didn't hear you come in." He could have lied, pretended he'd heard nothing. But Cole had never been good at pretending. "I heard what you said," he murmured. Her face went pale. "Cole, I didn't mean. Don't apologize." His voice cracked. "Please don't." Silence swelled between them until Emma whispered, "Why does it matter to you so much?" Cole swallowed hard, his hands trembling at his sides. "Because, I wish you were saying it to me." The world stilled. Her lips parted. Her knees nearly gave out. And for the first time since she arrived on his ranch, she saw him. Really saw him. The confession, years in the making. "I thought you didn't want anything serious," she whispered. "I didn't want to pressure you," Cole replied, voice barely audible. "You've been hurt. You needed space. I didn't want to be another man who took from you." Emma felt tears gather in her eyes. "Cole, you never took anything from me. You gave me safety. You gave me peace. I just never thought someone like you could want someone like me." He stepped closer, the sunlight glinting off his dusty boots. "I want you with everything I've got," he said softly. "But only if you want me to." She looked up at him, at the shy, gentle rancher who had been her safe harbor. "I do," she breathed. "More than I ever thought I could want anything again." And then, finally, after 3 years of quiet longing, they kissed. The challenges, fears returning like ghosts. But life didn't turn into a fairy tale overnight. Emma's fears crept back. "What if I can't give you a child?" she asked one night, curled beside him under the quilt his grandmother had made. Cole took her hand gently. "Emma, I didn't fall in love with you because of what you can give me. I fell in love because of who you are." "But you've always wanted a family," she whispered. "Yes," he admitted, "but only with the right woman. That's you. If we're blessed with a child, I'll be grateful. If we're not, I'll still be grateful. Because I'll have you." Her tears soaked his shirt, but for once, they weren't tears of fear. The twist life's quiet blessing. Months passed. Emma grew stronger, happier, freer. Then one crisp morning, she ran out of the bathroom with shaking hands, her voice trembling. Cole, I think I'm pregnant. He froze. The same way he had frozen in the barn that day. The same way he always froze when overwhelmed by love. Say it again, he whispered. I'm pregnant. Cole dropped to his knees, wrapping his arms around her stomach as if he could protect both her and their future child with the force of his embrace. I told you, she whispered through happy tears. One day, I'd give you a child. He buried his face against her, breath hitching. And I told you, he choked out, that you're all I've ever wanted. The resolution, love stronger than fear. Emma's pregnancy wasn't easy. There were days she felt terrified her past would repeat itself. Days Cole stayed by her side, rubbing her back, whispering comfort. Days where she felt unworthy, and nights where he reminded her she was everything. When their daughter was finally born, tiny, red-cheeked, with Emma's eyes, Cole cried harder than the baby. He held Emma's face in his rough hands and said, "You didn't give me a child first. You gave me love. The child, she's just the miracle that came after. The message, love that heals." Their story spread quietly through the town, not because it was flashy or dramatic, but because it was real. A woman who thought she was broken. A man too shy to confess his heart. Two souls who healed each other without even meaning to. And a promise whispered to a horse that changed the rest of their lives. The ending, an inspiring final note. Every evening, Emma stands on the porch with her baby girl in her arms. And every evening, Cole wraps his arms around both of them, resting his chin on Emma's shoulder. She always whispers the same words, the same ones she whispered years ago in the barn. One day, I'll give you a child. And Cole always answers with the words he now lives by. You already gave me everything.